All right, so folks, Piers Morgan is honing in on our action. The anti-Israel online podcaster. He's having a little fun with this, which it's good to see. Year and a half too late, but good to see. So here he is, breaking. He tweets this out. Breaking. Piers Morgan asked Israeli ambassador Tzipi Hatavelli, who is the Israeli ambassador to the UK, not the US, asked her 17 times why she knows how many Hamas terrorists have been killed, but not the number of children. So she stonewalled him on the number of children that Israel has killed. Of course, she blames Hamas for every child's death.
Yes,
But here he is
yes.
asking her 17 times to give him a number. Let's take a look. They thought this was fun enough to make a good montage.
1,000 terrorists in phase one of the war. Since the war is back, I don't have the numbers. But let me tell you one thing. We
how many children have you killed?
We never target civilians. So this question is irrelevant.
How many children have you killed?
Piers, Israel is not killing children. Israel is not killing children. Hamas is using them as human
Israel is killing
shields.
children every single day. I'm asking you this question for a purpose. I'm curious why you say you know exactly how many Hamas terrorists have been killed, but you have no idea how many children have been killed. Why is it you know one number but not the other?
I'll give you the answer.
Why don't you know the statistics?
Are
you saying no children have been killed in Gaza?
I didn't say that.
Are you saying that?
I didn't say that.
What are you saying?
I said.
Well, what are you saying?
Hamas
How
needs
many
to
have
be
been
blamed.
killed?
Hamas needs to be
How
blamed
many have
for
been
any.
killed? I'm
You
asking
know.
you why you know how many terrorists you've killed, but you don't know how many children you've killed in the process.
I have
why
an
don't you
answer
know
because
that?
we targeted those terrorists and we never targeted any civilians.
But you know many thousands of civilians have been killed. You understand
Piers,
that, do you?
do you understand that you don't care about my children
don't
and
keep
other
asking
Israeli
me
children
questions.
by letting 7th of October happen again and again?
I do. Again, I simply ask you one more time. Why is it you know how many Hamas terrorists you've killed, but you don't know how many children you've killed? Why is that?
As I said again, because in the end of the day, when you're accusing someone in killing,
you don't count one, but you count the other?
accuse someone in doing something deliberately, while Israel
how
is
do
not
you
doing
know
it
the
deliberately.
numbers?
Can I accuse
How do
the
you know
UK
the
of killing
numbers?
German children during the war?
17 times. Wow. Couldn't really get anywhere. Oh, boy. Drove him crazy. Piers Morgan told the Israeli ambassador to the UK that Israel is killing children, and she called it a blood libel. Okay, so here we get to see more how this conversation went. Now, as a theater director by trade, I noticed a very key moment here, which everybody seems to have picked up on, which is Piers's reaction when she accuses him of blood libel. That comes about a minute in, but let's watch the lead up.
Have two doctors in Gaza who have 10 children and 9 of them are killed in a bombardment by your forces. That doesn't make people feel, oh, this is all going great. It makes people think that you're waging a systematic destruction, not just of property and of land, but also of children. And that's what's happening. The percentage of children that you're killing compared to the percentage of you're killing of Hamas terrorists, what is it? Do you know? Do you
Piers,
know how
can
many
I tell you
children you've
something?
killed? Hang on.
Thing...
Answer me that one question. Do you know how many Hamas terrorists you've killed and how many children you've killed? Do you know those two numbers?
I know the numbers that came from the IDF. I know the numbers that came from a very, very established
Give me the two numbers.
Wait a second. We killed 30,000. We killed 30,000 terrorists in phase one of the war.
That's a complete lie. A complete lie.
Since the war is back, I don't have the numbers. But let me tell you one thing. We never target civilians. So this question is irrelevant.
How many children have you killed?
Piers, Israel is not killing children. Israel is not killing children. Hamas is using them as human shields.
Israel is killing children every single day.
Piers, this is a blood label you're putting on Israel. You know it's not true.
No, it's not actually. And what you're trying to do is be very weaselly with your words.
No, I'm not.
The truth is, you are killing a lot of children. You would argue you're doing.
Why it's caused?
Hang on, let me finish.
See that right there when he says, "Actually, no, it's not actually." No, it's not. That's as defiant as we've ever seen him. And I think the reason this is not working anymore, and it's frustrating for most of us in this space who have seen this for the last year and a half, but the human shields argument, it does not apply to withholding of food. That's the thing.
Right.
Now, it never really was honest anyway. That point was never made honestly in the first place. But that point got a lot of mileage for a very long time. The human shields argument, which is basically the urban warfare argument.
Well, for decades.
It's a densely populated area, so you have to fire through the civilians because they're being used as human shields, which is, of course, a perverse justification for killing civilians. I mean, that's not justifiable at all. But they got a surprising amount of mileage out of that. Withholding of food aid, that argument does not apply at all. That doesn't work at all. And that ended up really being the straw that broke the camel's back. That ended up really being the turning point. When they proved that they were willing to withhold food from the entire population for over 2 months, that neutralized their whole human shields argument to the point where now, when she calls it a blood libel, look at his response.
One thing. We never target civilians. So this question is irrelevant.
How many children have you killed?
Piers, Israel is not killing children. Israel is not killing children. Hamas is using them as human shields.
Israel is killing children every single day.
Piers, this is a blood label you're putting on Israel. You know it's not true.
No, it's not actually. And what you're trying to do is be very weaselly with your words.
No, I'm not.
The truth is, you are killing a lot of children. You would argue you're doing.
Why it's caused?
Hang on,
because
let me finish.
Hamas is using them as human shields, and you know that.
Let me finish my question to you. You are killing a lot of children on a daily basis. That is indisputable. My interesting question.
Okay, indisputable, because you can't argue human shields when you're starving them.
Right. Yeah.
So Glenn Greenwald tweets out that Piers Morgan, of all people, who justified Israel's destruction of Gaza for months, is treating an Israeli official this way shows the massive sea change in global opinion. And nobody is petrified now when Israel screams blood libel. It lost its sting from overuse. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly.
And that's happening to all of the narratives that Zionism has relied on for its entire history.
Exactly. You cannot just scream blood libel anymore. If it doesn't work on Piers Morgan.
The human shield shit's not working anymore.
No.
All their stuff is not working. And the core thing that they rely on, that it is anti-Semitic to be anti-Israel, is toast. The only people who seem to still believe that are the Trump administration because they get paid a lot to believe it.
Exactly. Marco Rubio. That's about it.
Yeah.
So here he closes out. Out of fairness, he's going to give her an opportunity to answer his question, and he ends up kind of shaming her in the end.
Fairness, because we know each other, I'm going to give you one last chance just to tell me, even a ballpark figure, of how many children have died in Gaza.
Piers, I think I'm very famous for saying the truth. And the truth is that I don't know. If I would have known the number, I wouldn't have hid it from you.
That's right. You're known around the world for saying the truth.
Yeah.
That's right.
Children have died in Gaza.
Piers, I think I'm very famous for saying the truth. And the truth is that I don't know. If I would have known the number, I wouldn't have hid it from you. So why do you keep on asking the same question again and again?
Because I don't understand how you can know how many terrorists you've killed, but you don't know how many civilians you've killed. Why do you know one but not the other?
As I said again, I think that it's totally irrelevant to the main question the humanitarian international law is asking. The international humanitarian law is never about civilians getting killed. It's only about who are you targeting. And if you're doing a legitimate warfare.
Are you happy that people are going to watch you as an ambassador to your country say that it's irrelevant how many children have been killed?
Yep.
Oh,
that's ultimately,
wow. I didn't see that clip.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, he just ends up shaming her. And like I said, when you've lost Piers Morgan, you've lost a lot. You know, in a sense, we kind of predicted that, you know, as the genocide entered its accelerated
at the rate
phase,
they're going in another 6 years, Bono's going to say apartheid.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, this is what I mean. Look, they really exposed themselves with the withholding of aid. I mean, that ended up doing it. The last time we saw a sea change like this was after the white Europeans got killed, the World Central Kitchen workers, you know. And I don't say that to minimize the loss. Obviously, those
Joe
people.
Scarborough all of a sudden decided.
Right, all of a sudden, MSNBC was really upset. They were calling for sanctions, and you know, like I said, that's not to minimize their loss. They're much bigger people than me. Anybody who goes over there, obviously, but the outrage was because some Europeans who were intervening got killed. This is the first time where you see, and people like Miss Rachel are a big part of this, when you see children being starved in this way, that's just it hits upon too primal an instinct, and they're just too evil to contain this anymore. And so I really think this has passed the point of no return. If the embassy shooting didn't turn public opinion back, then I don't think anything will.
Didn't even make a dent from what I
No.
saw. Nothing. You know what this is? This is like that clip that went viral at the soccer match where the guy was just trying to talk about soccer and the
Right.
Israeli interjected himself. Don't say anything against Israel. He's like, no, I'm just talking about soccer. The guy was so disgusting. Finally, this guy who just didn't want to talk politics.
Right.
Free.
Yeah, exactly.
Free. That's what they've done to the world.
Yep.
That's what they've done to the world. We saw this in the Jerusalem Day segment we did the other day. The world is just starting to wake up to the fact that this is not a country. This is an insane asylum. Yep. These people are sick people who've been raised to be psychopaths. They have been raised to believe that they are surrounded by Nazis. Yep. And they behave like people who believe that, right? What's not permissible to do to Nazis?
Yep. So this is an op-ed that was just printed in the Washington Post. We're not going to read it, but I think the title is significant and the outlet is significant. A genocide is happening in Gaza. We should say so. Now, this was not printed by the WAPO editorial board. I don't think Bezos would go that far. But the fact that they're willing to print this in their paper, the genocide word, that is an indication that the tide has really turned. It has really turned. And look, we had a feeling it would because, look, if you're going to follow through on a campaign of ethnic cleansing and genocide, eventually you're going to expose yourself. You have to in order to complete the genocide, right? And it's just beyond shameful that it took this long and took this much blood to get to this point. But we're here. And just like those who were against the Iraq War were vindicated in due time, the Vietnam War were vindicated in due time, Afghanistan, Ukraine. This is a similar dynamic. Obviously, the circumstances are even worse, even more sadistic, even more evil than those recent examples that I rattled off, because this is clearly an intentional campaign of elimination. But I think we're there. I think the withholding of aid was just too much for the world to take. There's no excusing that. There's no explaining.
No, it was the
away.
Tipping point. I mean, it's this is what we discussed the other day. Hey, it can be very difficult always being ahead of the curve and having to wait for society to catch up to you 2 or 3 years later. But you have to see that it is because you raised your voice that society gets there eventually. If it were not for people like you raising their voice with the Israeli Hasbara machine, they could have kept this invisible forever.
Yes, and you have to be especially tactful and especially smart, which in general the pro-Palestine movement has been, right? Because the problem with this too is, the Iraq War protests were ignored, right? But the pro-Palestine protests are really persecuted. I mean, they really throw the book at you. They actually try to come after you and hurt you. And part of that is to create a chilling effect. But part of that is to forcibly silence the pro-Palestine movement, which means that you have to be very smart and very strategic and very tactful in how you go about raising your voice, meaning you can't give them the ammunition they need to turn public opinion against you. You cannot be violent. You cannot be destructive. And in general, with very, very rare exception, these protests have been extremely peaceful and extremely civil. And of course, very importantly, nonviolent. And when you stick to it in that way, you do see results. And please don't take my word for that. Please watch the No Other Land documentary. The whole movie is great, but there's the part that really applies here is when the co-director of the film says, we're just going to come out here and protest every week, no matter what happens. No matter what happens, we're going to come out here and we're going to protest. We're not going to attack people. We're going to protest peacefully because we know that over time, this will have an effect. If we do not give up, we will win. And that's what we see happening now. And it can seem fruitless in the moment, but it's not. It's not. And this was an extremely trying time for all of us. But we are winning this argument, and we will win this argument.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for watching our video. We're currently raising money to produce our documentary film on the Uhuru movement. Go to givesendgo.com/do dissidents to chip in.
Every dollar you give goes towards the project. We do not take any kind of salary on these. We mostly live on Gatorade when we're on the road, so even solid food is iffy, just enough to get by. But we do not take any pay for this. Every dollar actually goes into what we need to shoot the project. The Uhuru movement is a subject that really deserves more exposure. Everybody heard about it through the court case, and that was an important thing to elevate. But they've done incredible community work demonstrating a different way that is socialist and not dependent on the government at the same time, which a lot of people don't even realize that still exists in the tradition of the Black Panther food and education programs. And to show there is such a strong community like that with such strong leadership is really important, particularly at this historical moment.
Yeah, so we're really excited about doing the project, but we need your help. So go to givesendgo.com/do dissidents to chip in. Thanks very much for your support.
Please clap.